This program is brought to you by Emory University.
So the first time you log in, of course, you log in with your net ID and password. The first time you log in, you should get a terms of service for Box and an Emory institutional policy, IT policy that you'll have to read and, of course, accept. I've done that obviously before, so I'm in. So this is your Box workspace. People ask all the time, well, what is the difference between emorybox.com and just the freebox.com or even Dropbox, which is also free? So emorybox.com is an enterprise version of box.com. That means that we have a business contract with the box vendor. We can house sensitive information like HIPAA and patient, HIPAA compliant and patient, electronic patient information, financial information. It has enterprise level security, so it's going to be more secure than the free version of either box.com or Dropbox. It has encryption. The others have encryption as well, but it has definitely has encryption both on upload and decryption on download. And you get larger amounts of data storage. I think you only get with either of the free Emory Box or Dropbox, you get 5 GB. And here you'll see, we'll touch on all the information you're seeing here now, but you'll get 25 GB, and even that can be expanded to 50 GB on a special request. And if that's not enough, there is a group account that can be purchased for departments, and that goes up to 100 GB. So we've got plenty of space. And then, of course, the other benefit is that you're using your net ID and password, and others in the system are Emory people as well, although there is a way to invite external people. So if you're doing cross-institutional collaboration, you've got that option as well. So one of the things I did yesterday in our practice session was zoom in a little bit so that you all can see my screen a little better, because I have quite a large resolution going on here. So hopefully that is large enough that you all can see. All right, so when you log into Box and you've gone past your agreements and you've accepted those, you'll see what looks like a kind of a familiar interface. I mean, you've got folders, and within folders, you have documents. So, I mean, we're all accustomed to this kind of layout on our computer. Of course, this is online on the web. But you've also see that you've got a lot of other things going on and a lot of other information. So I'm going to try to make that a little clearer to you so that it becomes as friendly as using your own computer. So in terms of the files and folders, one of the things you'll notice just right away is you've got different colors. It's very important. It's a very good visual cue that the yellow folders are private folders. These are folders that you have not shared with anyone else. They are just for your eyes only. The blue folders are blue folders that are being shared, and they might be shared by you, or they might be shared by someone like this one. Saray Das Williams has shared it with me and a lot of other people, 25 other collaborators. So you can see yellow is private, blue is shared, and of course the blue always has the little people in it as well. You'll also have another little indicator, and this is the sync indicator. And this tells you whether a folder is being synced to your desktop. We're not going to get into this in a deep way. We will talk a lot more about Box Sync in the second session and later in February. But just to know that when you're looking here at my box space, that anything that has the little circle means it is being copied and synchronized to my desktop. So this folder here, Box Testing, not only is it private, but it is not synchronized with my desktop. I can only see it online. So that's the folders. In addition to that, you've got when this was last updated and who last updated it. You have the number of files and the amount of storage it's taking up. You have the number of collaborators that are in the folder if it's being shared. And you've also got a little link to show that this folder has been shared via a link. Now, one of the things you'll see down here in this folder is that it looks like it is shared, but it's yellow. And remember, we talked about yellow folders, that these are private. The reason is that I had created at one time, created a link for this, but I have not yet shared it with anyone. So you can This will indicate that you've got a link ready to share, although it isn't yet shared. If you look at the people in this folder, there are no people in this folder. And unlike, I think, in the olden days of Dropbox, you could create a share link that you could just email to just about anyone, and that they could then use that as a public link to get into shared folders. You can't do that in box.com, or emorybox.com rather. You can only share folders with people that are collaborators of that folder. And that's really an added security feature to keep us from just sending URLs and links to whoever we want and then letting them access this folder. They have to be a collaborator in the folder. Okay, so you've got other things going on. You've got favorites. You can actually star any of these locations or files and add them to your favorites, and then they will show up here. Obviously, Candler IT, my department, I go into that folder quite often, and it's shared with everyone on our team. IT weekly meetings, we have our weekly staff meetings. That's another one I use frequently. This is information about your account, showing that it's an enterprise account, the amount of storage that I've used out of 25. So even though I'm a pretty heavy user, I've got everything that's on my computer is on Box. Even though I'm a heavy user and I've got videos in here and images, I'm still not up to that 25 gigs. So it should be plenty for everyone. Users, maybe like in communications, they might go over this or need to expand. But if you do, we can always expand or request an expansion. The help that you see here, that goes to Box.com's support online. I'm going to show you some resources that we have at Emory too, through LITS and also through the Candler intranet, that have really helpful videos, 2 minutes long, really easy and very descriptive. And so I will show you those and send those in the follow-up email as well. Of course, all this account information is also available under your profile. You've got your account settings. You can see everyone that you are collaborating with and some other things that we'll talk about as well. So up on this top row, well, actually, let's talk about this all files. You've obviously got a lot of folders here. And if you look here, I've got 1 of 5 pages of folders. So I could navigate this way. This will go through my second page of folders. And you can see a lot of these are private, even though they're synced to my desktop. One of them is shared. And it also indicates with this one that I'm a co-owner. So this one is owned by someone else, but I'm a co-owner in this file. And we'll talk about permissions and what that would mean to be a co-owner. But right now, let's continue on with our features and navigation. So I could continue to navigate this way. I can even click here and jump to pages, so I could jump to my last page. But sometimes, we may not know exactly where something is, and that's still doing a little bit of hunting and pecking. So under all files, this little toggle here, you have an entire sitemap and search field of all of your folders and files. So this is a really nice way to get a full view of everything that you have on Box, and then of course going in and seeing subfolders as well. But you get the idea. I can see my entire file structure all at once. And of course, either here or up in the search files, I can type Canon Chapel, and then it will give me everything, or Canon will give me everything that has Canon in the name, and will tell me the path to that. So that is a very nice way to navigate and jump around your files. Of course, one of the things we need to do is get content up. So that is what this upload button is for, and we're going to look at that a little more closely. You can upload files or entire folders. New, you can create a new folder from here as well, or you can create a new Box note or a Google document. There are quite a few options, but what I tend to do mostly is either create folders and upload documents to there that are on my desktop that I want to work with, or I can also drag documents into the browser, and we'll show you how that works. Box Notes is a particular feature that is distinguished from documents in that it's kind of a quick way to create like maybe a task list that you want to edit with someone. I think Roxanne and her student worker used this to kind of co-edit a list of tasks for him during the month, and they can edit them online together and see the edits as they're happening, just like you can in Google Docs. This button is for tagging. Of course, we've got a really powerful search field up here, but the nice thing about tagging is it lets you categorize items that maybe are in a lot of different folders, but they're categorized beyond that by a central theme or topic. So I've got computer purchases that are in my rotations folder, but I have other ones that are in Cannon Chapel, other ones that are in Dean's office, other ones that are in all the different departmental offices. So if I then create a tag and tag those items, whenever I want, I can just click on purchasing and it will bring up those tagged files. Of course, anytime you want to get back to your main structure of files, you can either click on all files, you can click on Emory University, or you can click on this file folder here. So all of those take you right back to the beginning where we're looking at the first page of my 5 pages of files. This button here with the little eye is to change view. So you can look, right now we're looking at a list view, but you can look at an icon view. You can sort by date. I sort chronologically because that's the way I think and work, but you might have more if you are very deadline driven, maybe that is more meaningful. But in any case, you can switch back and forth between them. So that is your view options. We talked about navigation, button navigation, and this is a button that allows you to select any of these or select all and apply options to them. So what are some of those options? These little buttons here, if anything really distinguishes this box from just an online cloud storage, it's this area here. And that is what allows you to share and apply other collaborative options that really take this from just online document storage to a very powerful collaboration and workflow tool for projects or for co-editing documents. So let's look at some of these. We're going to talk about share in just a moment when we talk about uploading files, but I wanted to point out you've got your favorites star here. So if I click favorites, it's going to add ATS and SACS up to my favorites. If I click more options, you're going to see all the different options you have available to you, including deleting folders, moving or copying to another location, properties, that also include emailing to box folders, which is a bit more advanced and we won't talk about in this session, but you can set up an email so that you can just email documents directly to box folders, particularly convenient if you're working with large volumes of documents that you need to get into one particular folder. Whether or not things are synchronized, adding tags, removing this from your favorites, inviting collaborators, sharing, creating a share link, etc. And of course, downloading. So these are your options or actions. They allow you to apply to any of these folders. And of course, when you go within a folder, you also have options to apply to those. Documents may have different options, but that's what that area is for. Let's go back to the top level. And one more thing up here, you see the little world. This is just indicating the updates that you've made. So if you want to go in, this is a running list of all the updates that have been made for all the documents that you have and when they were made. Today at 9:22, today at 9:02, today at 8:35. This is your notifications area, and you can see the little alert bubble that shows me I have 4 unread notifications, and that is where you can see comments that have been added, tasks that have been added. We're going to talk about all of those, But these are all the kind of notifications that I've gotten about Box documents that have either been changed, edited, commented on, or someone has requested a task to be addressed. All right, let's go back to the beginning. And now I want to start talking about uploading files. So how did we get all these folders and files up here? They didn't just exist on Box. I obviously like moved them from my desktop or copied them from my desktop. So in Box, you'll find there's multiple ways to do just about everything in Box, but usually there's one simple way, or the simplest. And so your upload button, that is going to be your easiest way to get documents and folders into Box. We go to upload files. You see right away it pulls up a navigation of my desktop. So this area here is online through our browser. This area here is looking at my computer. You can see it says desktop. I have my Candler IT folder here. So I'm going to upload, and actually I made this is good, I did this, but I just made the mistake that I wanted to warn you not to make. And that is that you always want to cancel out of the navigation here. You always want to be in the folder that you want to upload to. So I actually don't want to upload to the root of all of my box.com documents. I really want to work with this folder here, box testing. So I want to click in it in order to be in it and then upload. So you heard it here. Don't make that mistake like I just did. But click on upload from there, upload files, and then navigate to the document or documents that you want to upload. So I'm going to go ahead and put in this Excel sheet here, this IT Critical Services. We're going to open that, and you'll see it's waiting for upload. It said very briefly encrypting file, and now it's generating a preview. And you'll be able to see the preview, and you can zoom in and look at it a little more closely. One thing about preview is that it's a kind of a minimalist view. So if you have a lot of formatting, if you have annotations in Word documents, you can see them if you download the file, but you won't see them in preview. So don't panic if you've uploaded a file that has a lot of nice annotations in it, or review, tracking review notes, because they're there. You just may not see them, and probably won't see them in the preview. If you were to download it, you'd get to see all that additional formatting. So I'm going to X out of this right now. I'm going to upload another one just to show you that you can do this also dragging from your desktop. So I'm going to upload this one here, March Centennial Itinerary, and I just basically moved from my desktop over to this area. You see the area turned blue, and I'm going to let go, and it's uploading, encrypting, and it gives you an indication that has been uploaded. And again, we can click on it and generate the preview and look at the preview. All links should be intact. Most of the formatting, I mean, you're not going to see anything crazy. It's just that if you have, sometimes tables won't look exactly the way they did. If you're using a font that can't be interpreted well by Box.com, that might be a problem. But if you're using any kind of standard font, serif or sans serif, you shouldn't have a problem. All right, so that's how we uploaded a document, and you can preview it. But once we've got documents up here, we may want to actually collaborate with someone. Up till now, I've only showed you things from the perspective of this is what I have online. But and that's fine, if you want to only use it that way, you certainly can. It provides a fantastic backup, and it's highly secure. But the real power of Box is in that collaborative functionality. So let's actually invite someone. In order to collaborate with someone, we've got to have someone to collaborate with. So let's invite someone into this folder, and we can collaborate on a couple of these documents. I'm going to close out of that preview. So remember I said you can do a lot of a lot of the functionality in Box you can do from just multiple places in Box. If I actually go back to all files and go to box testing and my little options, I'll see that I can invite collaborators from here. But I don't want to do that because I want to show you what happens when we do invite a collaborator. So I want to go into the box testing folder. And remember, the box testing folder is yellow, so it's currently private. I'm the only one that can see it or have access to it. You can see that no one is invited. That was one of the things I wanted to show you, that under collaborators, there is no one listed. But I am going to add someone. So I'm going to invite Roxanne. So this is your invitation dialog. And one of the important things here is that when you type in a Emory email address, it needs to be, let me back up. If you're searching for someone that's already in the system, and you type their address, they will come up. If they're there, if they've logged in and they're using Box. If they're not there and they have not used Box before, you can still invite them, but you really need to use their net ID. In other words, I would not want to do this. Box does not interpret our aliases. This is called an alias or a preferred email address. This is not Tom's ID. This is just his preferred email address, just like mine is jose.rodriguez@emory.edu. And you'll see, even though I'm in the system, there are no matching contacts. So you want to either search by name if you think they might be in the system. And you might want to try a couple different. So it didn't come up with Liz, but it came up with Bounds. But you'll see that it's very specific to want that net ID eBounds. So just keep that in mind if you're adding someone new or if you don't find them in the list. And Roxanne had a message that she sent to someone. Yeah, they won't be able to access the folder unless they use their net ID. All right, so I'm going to add Roxanne. The other thing you'll see when I pull up Roxanne is that she's got her Emory address and she's got her Gmail address. So early on, Roxanne and I did some testing with external links. We wanted to make sure, or external email addresses. We wanted to make sure that, as advertised, we could invite people from outside of Emory. And it's true, you can. So if you put in any Gmail address, actually any non-Emory address, you can invite someone from outside the system. They will need to get a box.com account. It's a free account, but they'll need to go to box.com, set that up, and then they can collaborate with you in these folders. But for now, I'm going to add Roxanne's Emory address. And I could continue on and add other people if I wanted to, but I don't. For now, I just want to add Roxanne. The next thing you'll see is the permissions. This is where things get really important in terms of what you select. Your default option is editor, and you've got quite a few options here, co-owner all the way down to uploader, viewer. And if you hover over this little eye, you get a nice chart that shows you what each of these roles can and can't do. So if you look at this, if you follow across, editor can upload, download, preview. Pretty much they can do everything except they're not an owner. And the difference there is that an owner can change permissions on people. But editor also has quite a bit of free reign. So that is the default. So you always want to just think through, what am I doing with this person? What do they really need to do in this folder? If all they need to do is just view and upload, but not delete, you might want to go to the next one, which is viewer uploader. If all they need to do is read items, but you don't even want them to download, then you might select something like previewer. Sorry, that went away. Previewer or previewer uploader. So you'll see you've got a nice range of permissions, but just keeping in mind that the default is editor and that the editor can do everything you can do except for change permissions on you, which is a good thing. either hovering over that eye, or you can go down here and hover over any of these and they'll tell you specifically what they can do. But I like that little chart because it's very easy to interpret kind of across the board what everybody can and can't do. And then at the bottom, you've got a default message that you can customize. So if I want to, I can go in here and I can say, hi, Roxanne. And if you need to include additional information, you can. It's not required. This is not a required field. You can open it up a little further too if you want to add more. But it is there if you need to add more information or add links or anything like that. When I send this, Roxanne will get an email that allows her to click on it to accept the invitation. All right, so I'm going to do that. And you'll see now it shows that I'm the owner, and it shows that Roxanne has been added as an editor. Now she might not have accepted yet, but she's probably in that process. So we've seen how we get content up, and we've seen how to invite collaborators. Now the next thing we would want to do is obviously edit a document. So let's actually open this document here, March Centennial Conference. So we can see it in preview, and we can see this little pencil here that says edit this file. This is a feature whereby you can edit this document and have it saved online and updated. However, it uses something called Box Edit. So by default, you don't have any apps installed, but Box has quite a few apps that you can install and dovetail with your implementation of Box to use in a variety of ways. There's all kinds of things like digital signature. There are things that connect with Outlook. But Box Edit, if you have only one app, you should download and install Box Edit. So let's actually close out of there and let me show you how to get to your apps. Under your name, your profile, you see a little cloud and it says apps. Click on that. This will take you to all the available apps for Box. And you can play around with this, download something and play with it. But some of them are fee-based and some are free. But usually somewhere on this front page, they're advertising for one of the most popular ones, which is Box Edit. So click on Box Edit, and then you'll click on Learn More. And it's going to take you to the page that talks about downloading and installing Box Edit. Now, I've already installed mine, and I don't think it's a good idea for me to remove it and install it again because it might break something. But in your case, you might have this button that says install. If you want help with that, I mean, you could try this, and if you want help with it, of course, CST Help is available to help you with that. But you would install Box Edit, and once you have it installed and restart the web browser, then you should have access to that Box Edit when you click the little pencil. So we're going to go back to our folder, and March Centennial Conference is the one that I want to edit. So I want to go in and I want to click the pencil, and this should bring up Box Edit. So one of the things you'll see, and it's doing this quickly, but you see that I got a dialog about locking the folder. So that comes up briefly while it's launching the document in an edit form. Say you're in a group of people that, maybe 30 people that have access to this one folder. It's a very good idea to lock that file so that others can't make edits simultaneously. If you all do make edits simultaneously, you forgot to lock it, the problem is that it will create additional copies with those changes. So you'd have to reconcile, different versions of those documents, who changed what, and copy and paste. So it's better if you lock it, work on it, re-upload it, and then unlock it. So you'll see one of the things that Box Edit does, it launches Word on your desktop. So this is coming from the web. Box Edit is launching Word on your desktop, allowing you to make changes. So we are going to, and this is native, this is right in your computer. Centennial Desktop Conference, I'm going to make that bold. I'm going to change this to 2015, and I'm going to save it. When I save it, you will see that you get an indicator up here on the right that says saving to Box. File is saved to Box. And now when we go back to our web browser, which is right behind, you'll see I got a note that says a new version of this file is available. Do you want to refresh? I want to refresh the preview. And it's regenerating this preview. And now you're going to see that that change has been made and it's saved online. So once you've uploaded a document and you use Box Edit to edit that, you don't have to keep doing, this editing on your desktop and uploading the document. You are essentially editing it online through the interface of your own Word application or Excel or whatever Office application you're using. It works beautifully. And that's something you all definitely need. If you have trouble installing it, let us know and we can install it for you or help you through that. Of course, like with PDFs and things, you can zoom in, you can print, you can make it full screen. Up here, you've also got the option to download this file. Remember, I mentioned that if you have a lot of annotations or very intricate formatting, you might want to download the file and take a look at it. And just keeping in mind that's a copy of the file. Your original is still going to be online. And then we've got things like comments. So let me talk about, I just don't have much time left, but we're going to talk a little bit about versions and comments and tasks. Let's go back to, actually we're going to jump over into Candler IT. We're going to look at something that we have in online learning, then in DMIN planning. All right, so you see I've got a bunch of documents here in DMIN planning and another folder. And let's focus on this document here in the center, DMIN student worker proposal. I'm going to zoom in a little more. Let's see if it'll let me zoom in. Yeah. And you'll see something different about this file. It's got this little blue icon here. It's tiny. It's minuscule. I didn't even know you could click this thing, but you can. So when you click this, it's going to give you all the version history of this folder. You see how these others don't have the little blue? That means they are the original version, and I've never edited them beyond what I have up here. If I click on this V9, it'll show us all of the version history for this document, going back to the original. It was originally uploaded by Roxanne on January 16th. It's probably 2013. And then uploaded or changed again by me on January 22nd. Actually, I think this is something we were working on recently, so it is this year. And then it's been edited a couple more times. You can, from here, you can upload a new version if you want. You can make any of these the current one. Of course, be careful because that's a kind of a dangerous thing to go back in time. And of course, you can delete them. So, maybe you've got documents. These two were edits that I made very close together. Maybe I don't need them anymore and I delete them. But in most cases, I wouldn't bother managing your version history because, there's a reason that we have the history, and that is to go back and see who all touched it, when they did, if they downloaded it, if they edited it. And so it's really a running history, and unless there's a good reason to change any of the documents, I would probably just leave it as is. But it is there so that you can see how many times it's changed and who has changed them when. Another thing you'll see that's different with this document is we've got this little for indicator in a kind of little conversation bubble. This is indicating that there are either comments or tasks associated with this document. This is a really powerful feature. Instead of emailing someone, I got your document in Box, could you change blah, 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 you can actually, this just shows you the comments that Roxanne and I have both made on this document. And these comments will actually come to you in email. You'll get an email notification that says, comment has been added to this document. Click here to view it in Box. And then you'll go right to it. But the way you might work with this the most is in the preview mode or the edit mode. From here, I can see all of the comments that Roxanne and I have made, and then I can enter a new comment if I want. And so this is a running list of all of those comments. Assigning a task is very similar to comments, except that it has a due date associated with them. This is really powerful for obviously project work where you need everyone to review something by a particular time or make an edit or upload something else. You can assign a task. Let me go back and we can do it from here, but we can also do it from here. Assign a task. New task, you put in the addresses of those that you want to send it to, keeping in mind this is a folder that I have a lot of collaborators on, but I only want to send this to Roxanne. And we click a due date, and not, let's say towards the end of the month, I would like her to finish this. When I add this, it will send her an email, says you have a new task, please look at it in box.com. Roxanne can go in, look at the task. When she's done with the task, she can actually click on her end. She'll see something that says completed, click completed, and then I get a notification that her task was completed. I know it's sort of sped up there, but there's a lot of power to this box thing that you can use in terms of collaborating with others, working on projects, and workflow, managing a workflow around a particular document. The only other thing I was really going to show you was the tags. And you can see Roxanne has, I think she's added a comment. So she completed the task is what she did, and also sent a comment saying that she completed it. So there's quite a bit of notification going on in Box anytime someone changes anything. And in fact, if you're getting too much notification, you can always go into your account settings and adjust that, just so that you can say, I don't want notifications on everything, just when something is edited, just when something is deleted, that kind of thing. The other thing I was going to mention quickly was the tag filtering, but we sort of talked about that a little bit. Just the fact that creating tags to categorize items is a very quick way to search for items. Of course, it's not going to pick up everything. If it wasn't tagged, you won't see it in the list. And then again, just a plug for the second session, which will really be a lot more about use cases and Box Sync. Box Sync is another one of the apps, but it's so useful and so integral that it kind of has its own little section. So under your name, when you click Box Sync, you would also see a way to install Box Sync. I recommend that if you are going to install Box Sync, unless you feel really comfortable with understanding how that synchronization works, that you call on one of us in CST Help to sit down and consult with you, because we have found that it has confused some people as to what copy is where and which is the most current and that sort of thing.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.